I hope that you listened to this and you got one thing out of it. No matter what's happened in life, right? For you to find the strength to accept, you to find the strength to observe your own skills, you to find the strength to be able to know, like testimonies like this, that when you do accept, you see your skills and you lean into it, you give yourself a chance. The success you can have will reach TV screens, borders, podcast studios that you would have never imagined. So bet on yourself. Let Rich's story encourage you. Give yourself a chance.
Now, I need this. Sometimes life moves really quick. Sometimes you need to slow down and give yourself a chance. Welcome to our podcast. And today we have a special guest, Rich Ferguson, on, and he's going to go over with us how he gave himself a chance by slowing things down.
I swear, I don't ever know what you're going to do as an intro. You get me every time. Rich, thanks for being on the show today.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys. Yeah, it was awesome.
Super excited. Really glad we got connected. I've enjoyed the convo so far and really looking forward to being able to dive in further. As somebody's coming in, if they clicked on our thumbnail and they started the show, they might think to themselves, who's Rich Ferguson? A lot of people might actually already know you. They've seen you on other shows as well. But if they haven't heard of you, can you give a quick description of why they should still keep watching?
They should keep watching because we're all awesome, first of all.
Well, there
Secondly,
you go.
Not to toot my own, but people may have heard of me or seen me, and if they saw a clip of me on the Leno or Ellen, they'd be like, oh, it's that guy. But you wouldn't necessarily know because I've been a consultant with NBC, America's Got Talent, The Today Show, and I create a lot of weird pranks and gizmos and magic tricks for illusionists and for shows. And so there's things you've seen that are like, oh, I didn't know it was that guy hiding in the chair or whatever. A lot of weird stuff.
Yeah.
But I got millions of followers from doing all those shenanigans on YouTube and whatnot. But where I am behind the scenes outside of that world is as a keynote speaker and a specialist in human behavior and a magician of 35 years who won tons of awards. I just have a lot to share about human behavior and just how people can excel in business and relationships and hiring, firing, dating, poker, it doesn't matter. But I have a very secret insight to how the mind works and how people tick. And I'll share a little bit of that with you today. It's pretty fun stuff.
Well, I'd be listening at this point. I'd be like, all right.
Is this your wallet?
Yeah.
Sorry.
What the heck? Those are my credit card numbers. To start off, I'd love to even know what got you so interested in magic. Like, why'd you go that route? Share with us a little bit about your journey there.
That's such a great question because it's not loaded, but it's a complicated question because most people I tell, hey, you know what? I just love magic and I just love people and I love this. It's a way to approach people and do my thing.
Break the ice.
The truth is, we're on a podcast, so I might as well just share because we're here to learn stuff and talk about change and all that. And so to back up way back, I didn't learn to read till I was 12. So I grew up in a very bizarre. We can have a whole podcast just devoted to that. But my background is absolutely nuts. And so I didn't learn to read till I was 12. I got adopted by this great family, moved to the Central Coast of California, got a whole new start on life. And, I deal with autism and all kinds of issues. And I just kind of struggled through life, but I was crazy smart. They didn't know what to do with me. They tested me and I was at 16th grade level. So they put me ahead. And then after a while, they put me back. I was still 16 as a senior. And it was just, I struggled through school and I just kind of skated by. And then if it was a class that was challenging, like I got a perfect score because it was now it was fun.
Yeah.
So my life was a little bit weird. So fast forward in college, I didn't know I was a magician in my soul. I'm like a Jedi Knight, it's just in my blood, literally, coursing through my blood. And so for me, it was more like an opportunity-based thing. I'd be like, hey, I'll see you later, Richard. And I'd just tap you on the chest and say, hey, you got to go to PE later? And while I did it, I might pinch with my pinkies and take your sunglasses just because it's a natural thing to do. And so I would do things like that all the time just to be a smart aleck. And so around the end of high school.
But you kept the sunglasses?
No, I would put them on and then I'd turn back, hey, yeah, you're going to be in wrestling later, right? And I'm like, oh, your glasses. And people would just lose their mind. And so I would do that in college. And so somewhere in the...
Natural sleight of hand.
Yeah, natural sleight of hand, but more just opportunity-based. I can time things well.
Yeah.
And I always knew I had a knack for it. I've never seen a magician. I've never been to a magic shop. I was 26 years old and I'm still in college for engineering and people would come up to me with something like, hey, Rich, here's this pencil. Do something with it. And I'm like what? What are you talking... That thing you did in class. I'm like, dude, I did it because you didn't know I was going to do it. It's all just me messing with you. And so long story short, I got into magic in a weird way. I wish the story was cool, I was inspired by this guy or it was in my family, but it's more like I understand how people tick.
Yeah.
And so I kind of came into magic the back door. And then when I was 26, I met a hypnotist and he and I became good friends and we did a show together. And he got brain cancer, believe it or not. He moved to Oregon and then I'm on my own going, I got the bug. Like I love being in front of people and entertaining them, but I don't want to be in front of people for any other reason. So I was like, because I got this weird, Asperger's thing. So if I'm doing magic, I'm comfortable. It's weird. And so 27 years old, I quit school, I quit my job, and I became a full-time magician overnight, literally overnight. I just decided one day, I said, I can just mess with people and get paid. And I'm just going to do that instead.
Dude.
Wow.
Yeah.
So when The Matrix came out, did you start thinking, oh, that's how I see the world? Like that slow motion, like
kind
it's
of
slow for you?
Wow, that's crazy.
I don't know. I mean, I think fast and talk fast, but it's really more like, I think I'm more like a Jedi Knight.
Bro.
I just like see things and like slow them down with my thoughts,
That's crazy. I love that.
Yeah.
Okay, so you had this natural talent. These things came, if it was a place of comfort for you, right? We met somebody who up-leveled you into a new exposure of a new type of performance, and you were just like, okay, I got to do this.
So you're hypnotist too now?
No, I just dab. I now help design the shows and the
nice.
props and the sound effects, and I would start the show off by talking to the audience about the power of persuasion, because I've always been into psychology.
Yeah.
That was what I minored in college, and so I just loved it. And then it just was such a great fit. And I'm like, wow, there's people out here that get paid to do this stuff.
Yeah.
And then I started meeting like people that did stuff in magic at 26, 27. I was hooked immediately. I was like, wait a second, you get to take people's watches and they pay you to go to I mean, what are you kidding me with this? I mean, I could do that. I do that all the time. That's great. So I just fell in love with it.
What happens since
Persuade
then?
me to stay under 1,800 calories a day in meals.
Yeah, me too, please. My wife will thank you. What happened since then? You caught this bug, you're in it, you found a new passion.
I started off, really treating it like a business right off the bat. I'm like, I'm going to do kid parties and fairs and street performances. And, a lot of magicians, they start off and they go to restaurant work and they do all this stuff to like get exposure. And I'm like, no, from day one, I put in a business plan. I had my databases way before like digital CRMs and all that stuff. It was way before YouTube. And I just kind of created my own thing with FileMaker. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to start reaching out to clients. But I had a whole system, and I'm going to reach out to like top-notch people, the film festivals and like celebrities and like annual VIP events and annual, red carpet events, and start bugging those people. And I'm like, hey, so I see you do this event. Would you be interested in having me come and blow people's minds? And I had no promo material. We didn't have computers back then. It was just simple times.
No YouTube they can watch.
Yeah, nothing. And I was like, we have this VHS tape you can maybe send to someone, but like it just was just word of mouth. And I would show up at a couple big things, and from a business standpoint, I structured it in a sense that I looked at it like this, because I was already older when I started. So I'm like, do I want to go and like scramble through all these little small events and like maybe one person out of 300 there might be in a position to hire me, or do I want to make it where I go to some CEO event or some retreat or some film festival where every single person in the room can hire me? And I'm like, that's the route I want to go. So just kind of had this epiphany. And so I went that I went that route. No magicians go that route. They want to get exposure and work for free and go to clubs and go to restaurants, which is great for practice sake. Fantastic, because you're doing tricks 100 times over and you're getting exposure and practice for free, But I was more like, I'm just going to hit the ground running. Damn. So long story short, I would say I went to a celebrity event in Santa Barbara, LA or something, and I'm surrounded by all these other people. They see me doing this thing. They're like, dude, I've seen a lot of magicians, but nothing like that. And so like, this is cool. I can get my card out, boom, boom, boom. And I never advertised or marketed once in my life. Yeah. And it was just pure word of mouth.
Did you ever have, since you didn't go to these small events to practice, when you got to these big events, were you stage fright at all? Was like, hey, that's a lot of pressure.
Yeah, I still have that, because I'm always changing stuff up. But, especially with my weird head stuff. But like, it's just like means to an end. It's like, this is how I'm going to meet people. This is how I'm going to get paid. This is how I'm going to try this new idea out. So I'll try a new idea out in a live show. Wow. I mean, you're not supposed to do that in magic, but I'm like, I just go for it. Because I have a whole set. I'm like, it's okay to try one thing that's new. Yeah. Like say you had a watch on, and I want to like say, can you stand over here? And as I'm moving you, I might slip something under your watch, right? Mm-hmm. It's usually done when your hands face up. But what if I could try it when your hands face this direction? I'm like, maybe you won't see it if I'm directing you somewhere. So I'll just try it right in front of an audience. And if I miss, well, I still have it in my hand, the coin or the card folded up or whatever, So I think more that style. I'm just like, let's just try it.
Wow.
Because if I mess up, you don't know it.
Super ballsy.
Yeah. It's a little more ballsy. It is, yeah. And it's like even taking a watch. When I was taking watches off people when I first started doing that, it was more like, instead of like, here, hold these sponge balls and these coins, you feel that in there, right? Still in, and they're taking it off, and there's so much focus on that, so you don't feel this. But like, I'm more like, can I get that off without you even knowing I touched you? So I'm more like, hey, can you stand over here and I'll get the buckle to go. It's hard to explain, but it pops out so the tooth is loose. Yeah. And then like, it's already, and just from touching you and saying, sit over here, your watch is still there. I might even make reference of it, like the time is what, da da da. And then I'll say, okay, perfect, we're gonna try something. Can you hold this card and you hold this coin? take the watch, boom, and it's all done in segments. And it's like, I like that style where it's like, can I get away with it? And if I get caught, like when I first was learning this on my own, I was like, well, if I get caught, my backup plan could be like, especially me reading people well, this is where I have the advantage. If I notice the energy of like that look, you're about to get caught, they can sense it. I can interrupt that flow immediately. I'm like, I'm just kidding. Such a habit taking watches here. You can have that back. I can just cover it up.
Wow.
Now most magicians, it just be, they'd be caught.
Yeah.
And there's no backup plan. And so
that's great.
I just kind of, it's a wing it style, you know?
Good, man.
This random question now.
Yes, sir.
What's the most expensive watch you've ever snatched?
Oh, I have no idea. I don't know watches too well. I'll be honest. I mean, it's like,
I just know how to take them.
You've
never had
There's some Rolexes and dive watches that are pretty premium that are very difficult to take because they don't unclasp around the wrist. They open up wider and you have to slide them off. So you have to get rid of the thumb.
So you could take those off too.
Oh, yeah, you have to get rid of the thumb. So it's more like making your hand smaller by doing this. So I'll be having you hold something and make sure you feel it. So you have to get that out of the way. So then you slide it off. Yeah, so it's just different. It's a whole different strategy. But I try to stay away from those. And if I'm on stage, probably not going to do it. I'll just do it. I like the leather ones because I can do that when I'm just walking you.
I thought the leather would be the harder one.
No, it's the belt buckle ones. A cinch, man.
Dude.
No, they're very easy. Yeah.
For me, like it's actually touching me right now because like you are taking risk in front of other people.
Yeah.
And sometimes for me, because I do social media, I practice so much that I lose that authenticity. Even though I control my tonality now, but I lose the surprise factor because I'm trying to play it safe.
Yeah.
So hearing you talk is really inspiring me, like when I speak, to add something new instead of like, let me go with safe, let me go with what works. And then you can tell when someone rehearses so much where it's just not fun anymore. So
there's that little level of rehearsal feel, you know, versus raw. Yeah.
One of the things that a lot of people don't catch on men is for somebody who gets viewed, I mean, typically every single one of your market updates every morning has 40,000 views, right? Somebody who gets watched 40,000 times a day and he has 300 some thousand followers that are true community followers, like interact with them like crazy. I don't think people have seen how shy men could be.
Oh yeah.
And how much of it
you know more than
I
anybody.
do. Yeah. And that's where it's just like, hearing you say, you know, these kind of components, learning from the story, that's super interesting. Yeah. And so, that's super encouraging to be able to hear you take risks. And that's where I'd like to even just start before we go into all the new pieces and practices you've created and how you've taken your experience and synthesized it in such a way that you're helping a lot of people with it. If you don't mind, and I'm just assuming here, just trying to connect dots, but hearing that you went through adoption, right? What was the component that like helped you give yourself a chance? Because other friends that I've had that have gone through adoption as well, giving themselves a chance is one of the most challenging things for them to do, right? Just being able to bet on yourself and trust in yourself and know your own self-worth. What was your journey to be able to have the confidence to give yourself a chance consistently in front of so many people, making yourself vulnerable, trying new things that can embarrass you? Like, for you to have that self-confidence, there's a story there that I think can provide a really good lesson for us.
That's a very interesting question, man. And some layers of it are pretty deep too. But I feel like after processing my life enough and talking to people about my background more and more, because I used to be kind of a secret because I was ashamed. I was like, I grew up pretty darn rough.
Could imagine.
And I had no parents. My mom was murdered, and I mean, it's a brutal childhood. And
I'm sorry.
And but I think for me was accepting that this shit happened. It was gnarly. I saw stuff no kid should have ever seen. And also having this weird mind because I didn't know how to read, but I just so observed. I was so freakishly observant.
Wow.
And so that just skilled that up a bit. And so for me, like I was kind of given a gift, you know, and I leaned on that. And I was like, it's like a superpower. And so, a lot of people go through something and they just complain the rest of their life. Yeah. Versus going, okay, what has it taught me? What can I do to like master something now? If it's helping others or whatever it might be. But for me, like my observational abilities are kind of off the hook. And so that's why I got into magic. That's why I do what I do. That's how I teach people about body language from a different perspective. I mean, so it wasn't really a faith in myself or like being encouraged by someone or getting strong enough or whatever. It was just accepting, like, you know what? Everyone's coming to me like, do something, Rich. You're different. He's smart. Ask Rich. He'll know. I was that guy in college too. Like I was in locker rooms a lot because I was competitive in some sports, and I'm just so overly analyzing, probably out of a survival instinct, to be honest. If you really were to look at the psychology of it, I'm always aware of every little tick and every little movement, but to a point that I overhear people, hey, where are my keys? I don't have nothing to do with them. Why should I know where their keys are? But I'll be like, hey, I think I heard you throw them on the top of the locker a few minutes ago, because I could just, I put it together. And so my brain's always chugging.
Spy games, right?
Yeah, that's what it is. And so I knew that was a skill. And so it was pushed on me. It was made aware to me just by interacting with people. And then it just led to what I do.
Wow. Yeah. Well, I think it's beautiful too that you allow.
It's different.
You allow the differences you've been told you have to not be defined with any negative connotation, right? Like, I've heard you share you have Asperger's, right? And so it's like some people I've seen, when they get any type of diagnosis with anything different, they just use it as a negative, like, okay, now I can't do this. Or a crutch. Yeah,
crutch.
And you're like
ability, a skill. Because anyone that's got something that's different, if you're super crazy tall or you got 6 fingers or whatever, I mean, there's something unique that you can do. You know?
I wish my brain can focus on 5 things at the same time. Sounds like that's what yours is doing, right? Like you're able to like have so many things.
Yeah, I don't know.
He's Neil from the Matrix.
Dude, right? Like literally, that's the first thought I had.
Yeah, it's a trip.
That's a huge gift.
Yeah, it's a burden and a curse, but
I can imagine.
It keeps me up at night and it's frustrating, but everything annoys me, but it's like I'm super focused too, if I want to be on certain things.
So you've been able to accept, that was powerful, by the way, to be able to see that one of the greatest ways of to make superpowers is the first step is acceptance. That's so big. Acceptance of what's happened, acceptance of where you are at, acceptance of where you want to go. I think that's so monumental. I haven't actually heard it explained that way. And so that's super helpful. You've accepted it. You've grown success. Where are you at now? What are you trying to do?
Okay, before we get to that?
Yeah, please.
So I know you went out there, you got caught, you performed. What moment did you make it? Like when you start showing up on like Ellen and all these other shows, like what was it that launched that part of your career?
Kind of all happened at once, kind of behind the scenes, getting really well known. I was starting to rub elbows with a few entertainers and consulting with some people for some shows, because magicians are they're an interesting crowd,
I could imagine.
The best ones you see, there's a crowd of 20 behind them, helping them design the illusions and running the show, and it's a trip.
Oh, really?
And so, you got, America's Got Talent, and all these shows, there's so many consultants involved.
Yeah.
And so around the poker phase in the mid-2000s, I started touring around the world with Full Tilt Poker, and I was writing for some of the magazines and produced this poker DVD series on cards and coins, chips and stuff, and that kind of started it. And then I got a world record for coin and chip manipulation. And, that's just kind of like street cred, and then a lot of other magicians and those types are like, oh, they'll talk to you if you're cool, because it's a very interesting crowd. It's a lot of ego in it. And then I think when I started doing Leno and the Today Show, I forget which was first. It might have been, I don't know if it was Ellen or the Today Show or Leno, because they were all kind of in this NBC circle. And once you're in and suddenly they love you, oh my gosh, it's wild. It's
really?
They're all just all over you. It's wild. Yeah. So I ended up being a contributor for NBC. And then I was on the Today Show multiple times for years, doing all kinds of different things for them, and as a guest as well. And it just kind of took off. So I don't know, around 2008, it just went bonkers. Dude. And I made this illusion for Jay Leno, where my head falls off for Halloween. I catch it, right?
That's hilarious.
And so I'm like, let me just stick it on YouTube too. I mean, whatever, stick it on YouTube. And it got 100 million views in a week. Just nuts, right? Everyone was like, can we use it? Can we have? I'm like, I don't care. Yeah, my channel wasn't monetized. I was like, I don't care. And so it went everywhere. And I got this award for Google for being one of the most viewed in search things in the world in 2012 or whatever it was. I'm like, what?
That's
and then
crazy.
This company calls me and they're like, you should really monetize your channel. You could probably make some money. And I'm like, oh, good idea. So I just turned the switch on, and then I'm like making thousands of dollars. I didn't do anything because I was getting so many views, and I just kept making things for shows like this one where I'm a couch. I look like that chair actually, but it's orange. It was for the orange, they call it orange room at the Today Show because it's not a green room, it's an orange room where the celebrities hang out. And it was a chair that looks just like that, but the entire thing is me. It's all stitched around me. It's like a robot. It's like, transformed.
Yeah.
And I could just sit there and the cushions are the arms, and it's just me. And so people would sit on me. It'd be like John Cena or like Natalie Morales, and I would just jump up and grab them. And they did it as a gag for some April Fool's thing, and that was one of the first things. And I made that for them, and I put that on YouTube, and it went uber viral. And it's like everything I made just went viral. I was like, this is wild,
dude. I love that.
Yeah, so it all happened at once.
You know how to entertain people.
Yeah.
All right, so you had this massive growth, and it came from just right people, all the stuff you've done to prepare yourself.
And being creative and just being different, and which is what they were looking for. Hey, we need you to help us with this. And once you're in and they know you can bring it, then they just call you. They're like, hey, we need this other thing made, or can you help us with this? I'm like, yeah, sure, I'll fly out and do it.
I feel like I forget sometimes how you could be literally one relationship away from everything just turning around. Really can. So what happened from there? I know you've shared that you're in a re-phase of your life. You had all the success. What took place from there to now?
Just fun stuff. I mean, just got to do all the kind of events I wanted to do, met the people I wanted to meet, got to produce a lot of products and be on the shows I wanted to be on. And it was all the fun stuff, that you kind of set your mind to do. If I wasn't making a new product every year, something was wrong. Like if it was a new DVD, a new book, something. So I've always just kind of created stuff more for the entertainment magic world. And then during that, all through my 30s and 40s, at the end of any corporate event, because I mostly did only corporate stuff, at the end of those events, you'd be amazed how many CEOs and like people of influence and top salespeople in a company would be around me at the end. They're like, okay, dude, okay, your stuff was great, but so obviously, because my magic I do is kind of psychological magic in nature, so that it kind of lends the direction of the conversation. And at the end of these events, it was like 10 years ago when I had this epiphany, but it would be a regular deal at the end of these events that people would be like, so if I'm in a sales situation and this guy is being, what can I do in this case situation? And they'd start giving me all these scenarios. And I'd be like, do this. And I said, let's role play, let's try this, let's do this. And it just kind of became this conversation after many corporate events. And it became really clear. They're like, hey, could you ever come to our company event? And could you ever come to like a retreat and maybe teach us about like this weird style you have about body language? And I'm like, sure. And so it just became a repeating pattern, which I'm a magician. What the heck? It's weird, crazy. But they saw that I had a different approach. And so long story short, about 10 years ago, I started going that route a little bit and helping people with some ideas. I did some online consulting and stuff. And then I just decided, let me just go full speed. Let me get ready. I did a second TED Talk on human behavior and how it works from my perspective. And which we can talk about for a second. It's really cool. It's a different angle. It's rad.
And that's how I can topic.
Get. As a magician, you got to get away with something 100% of the time. Not sometimes. It's good. So it has to be pretty accurate. So I throw away all the theoretical junk and all the data and statistics. I'm like, here's what works in here, and it just works. Period. Just do this. Follow these steps. It works. Period. End of story. I don't care if it's dating, if it's poker, if it's negotiations. I don't care. It's going to work. And so, long story short, that happened, and I started going that route. So I created my first product in the psychology, business, body language world is these rad playing cards. They're how to read body language to win at business and life. And each card is got a scenario, like hands are crossed, or they do this.
Can I see one?
Yeah, sure. Just pop them open if you want. And so the thing that's unique is it's not about... They're rad. So this is my entire hour-and-a-half keynote crammed into 56 playing cards.
Wow.
And so here's the secret. Do you mind if I just take over on this one moment? Check this out. Here's the secret, guys, for anyone listening and watching. Body language means nothing. This is the absolute raw truth. I studied this in college. It's all just based on data. You know that 70% of surgery is not necessary? Okay, great. If your arm's chopped off from an accident, I would say 100% you need surgery, right? So there's no common sense and observation used in body language enough. It's based on data. Oh, if you look over here, you're lying. If you look over here, this. I'm like, that's still only 50% accurate. Like you have to know. So here's the deal. Body language means nothing. Like if my arms are crossed, that doesn't mean anything. However, I'm sitting here like this the entire time. And you say, hey, do you mind if we cut this short? We got to go. And I'm like, yeah, that sounds great. And now I do it. You caused it. So now you know, oh, he's not digging this. He's now like a little upset. You caused it. What you said or did caused it. And now, so I'm all about one moment.
So reactional body.
Reactional body language based on a stimulus. That stimulus could be someone raising in poker. It could be a guy asking a girl's number at a bar, and he's ignoring all the signs that she's running for her life, but her face is like, oh my God, so nice to see you. But her hands are closed off, her feet are curled under, all this stuff. Sales, negotiating, whatever it might be. And so as soon as someone drops in a stimulus, like, hey, the best we can do is 19,500,000, whatever it is, or the best we could do for this house, or this, whatever the punchline is, the stress factor, the stimulus, the whatever it is, the request, the uncomfortable question. As soon as you hit them with something, and they go, yeah, and now they change. That tells you exactly what's happening, and those cards tell you what those gestures mean under those situations. So if someone's in a group, like celebrity, I'm at a celebrity party, I want to talk to that director. It's so simple. I look at all the feet and there's a crowd around. All the feet are pointing to the one guy. Obviously, that's the dude in charge. That's the one everyone wants to kiss butt to, right? That person's foot's going to tilt. It's going to turn.
Watch
that foot is going to pivot. And when it pivots, He's going to walk that direction the very next break in conversation.
Dang.
So I walk over there, and guess who walks right to me?
He does.
He does. And it's like all these people are clamoring to meet someone, and they're, it's just interesting. So once you tap into body language and you know how it works and why it's working from a subconscious standpoint, you have a huge advantage because you know exactly what's going on, their motive.
It's not body language in and of itself. It's when body language.
100%.
Okay. It's all
when
timing.
Based on the reaction,
The stimulus.
immediately following a stimulus.
Yeah.
If he's over there tapping his foot the whole time, I can care less.
Yeah.
Don't care.
But
Unless
if you
ask him
said
a question
something,
and then how he reacts to it.
And
Exactly.
he hasn't do it, and all of a sudden he does. Now he's nervous, or now he's
Yeah.
upset, or whatever. I can determine that, and these cards kind of give you a little
Yeah.
snapshot of what that means. If someone
do you
puts
want me
their
to read
hand,
one?
No, sure, but if someone puts their hand right here, what's this
Yeah.
mean? I'm just going to quiz you guys. What's this mean?
It depends. What did you say beforehand?
That's a good answer. But here's an example of how body language is going to be read wrong by most people. This means one of two things. It could mean they're super intelligent and they're telling themselves to shut up because they want to hear you.
Yeah.
Tell me more. Or you just hit them with something, they weren't there, and they're no, I wasn't the one that broke the window.
Yeah.
Same exact look. The snapshot in time is the same. One
Yeah.
means they're lying to you. One means they're intelligent and they just want to hear you.
Dang.
And you're going to look at people with their arms crossed and make a judgment on what that
Yeah.
means. You're wrong. You don't know what it means.
Yeah. The guy could
They
just
might
be
have
smelling
a
his
dirty
finger.
armpits. Who knows?
He's just,
Yeah, I saw the dirty armpit. You read your phone with all the people that had the finger?
Oh my God, it's
Yeah.
hilarious.
dude. Yeah, no, that's so crazy. So, well, I
Because one person,
won't even
they
ask
say
this
calm
first.
because they smelled the aroma of their armpit. It's like, dude.
Are you talking about the comments to some of my
Yeah.
videos? Yeah, it's pretty funny.
So to
You
your,
did some homework.
Dude,
Oh man, look at you.
Min was on it. But to your point, how do you know the difference then, right? If one action can mean both things, is it then you
It's
just got to
context.
be...
You're 50-50 now.
No, it's context.
Got
I'm
it.
saying you can't just go in and say, "Oh, his hand's on his finger, or his finger's
Yeah.
over his mouth." Oh, he's lying. What's he lying about? You didn't.
Yeah.
There's no context. If it's already that way, he's probably just observing. That's
Yeah.
his own pacifying behavior. He's just doing it. Now, if you're talking to someone and all of a sudden they do it, and it's right after you ask them a question, you know it's a lie.
Yeah.
Now, if you're having a conversation with someone, they go, yeah. Tell me more about how you got into this podcast stuff. I want to hear more about how you set this up and I do this. I'm just telling myself to shut up.
Yeah.
That's just you can observe that and go, oh, he's just actually very interested. I mean,
Yeah.
there's reading people, but it's reading them at the right moment.
Yeah, I love even the words we use, right? Like reading, body language, and things that I feel like we forget until we try to read a book with our 9-year-old kid or a 7-year-old kid, right? And you're like, shit, when you put these letters together, this letter is now silent, right? Like when you think about alphabet that creates a language that you read,
Consonants.
right? All those things. And then you start realizing body language is literally that, but in action now.
Yeah.
Right. And then you start going, okay, what actions placed together with what responses now allow me to read it. And so I just point that out because I think so many times, especially for myself, I misread things forgetting that there's already rules of how these letters work together. And it sounds like what you've put together is showing people how the alphabet of body language actually works.
Yeah,
Not just the letters themselves.
Yeah, when someone sees me in a keynote, and after an hour and a half keynote, people just, I've done it for large sales companies around the world, and you just see their jaws open. They're like, I've been studying this stuff my whole life, and I've completely missed it. And I'm like, no, you have. Like, everyone has.
Dang.
It's all based on data and statistics, and it's like, that's not going to help you live right now in this situation.
Yeah.
And so that's where I come from.
Well, that's
that-
crazy.
That world.
Yeah, I'm actually going to be, I'm writing a book on the psychology of sales, so I'll have to throw some ideas past you after this. Is it all right if I read one just so
Sure.
the audience
Yeah,
can
I
see an
don't mind. Yeah,
example?
let me see what you got.
Leg movements.
Okay, cool.
Leg movements do not lie. Subconscious shifts of the legs tell the truth. Watch for adjustments of the legs towards you and or opening slightly apart with relaxation. This is a sign they may be comfortable, attracted, or interested in your information.
Okay, so again, the first card on this deck talks about the timing and there's an instruction.
Oh, got it. Okay.
It's a key component to understand the baseline of this whole thing. So this is all based on the fact that, like, say you're at a bar talking to some lady.
Yeah.
And she's talking to you, and she's right here,
Yeah.
and she's getting comfortable. Her legs literally could point toward you. Her hands
Yeah.
can turn up. It's showing vulnerability. The opposite of that, there's another card that talks about it too. Another one in
Turn
there
away.
is if her legs close off, they turn away from you. Her hands might tighten up. Her feet might curl around the chair legs for comfort. But her face might face you and go, oh my God, I like you so much. Like, that's just a show.
Yeah.
And you've missed multiple signs saying she's
Yeah.
running for her life.
Yeah.
And so it's all based on, as soon as you said, hey, well, can I see you again? Or can I get your number? So as soon as you dropped in a punchline, that shift that you're going to see is described in that card.
Bro, I love that.
Hey, we're going Dutch.
We are.
Yeah. I'm in my man era. Or what they call it, soft era, what they call it. Yeah.
Dude. So for the audience being aspiring entrepreneurs or entrepreneurs having to just reset themselves up in whatever they're trying to do, with what you're teaching, what would you think is one of the most applicable lessons to them? Like if somebody's trying to build up their business, obviously sales is one of the biggest things. So effectively the question is, what's one of the best sales tips you can give somebody who's trying to build their business?
That's a great one. I mean, I come in from a different approach because I'm like more human interaction kind of a standpoint. So you're doing sales, you have your sales script, you have your training, you have your products, you have all these things in mechanisms and your CRMs, all these things. Yeah. It's like, okay, how can you have a huge advantage? Like say you're at a trade show or you're talking to someone and getting leads. I can tell you if it's a soft lead or hard lead right now. I can tell you if this guy's really interested, he's wasting your time. Like a realtor. They're just coming to look at homes. I can tell you about 2 seconds interacting with someone if they're just shopping around, just getting ideas for their own remodeling at home. They're not even going to buy a house at all. I can tell you in a second based on how they react to different stimulus and how they're looking and all that. You know, so for me, it's about awareness and just observing. So I would say people are so used to reading books and self-help and, you know, the training and their scripts and all the stuff you do in business, but be more open to watching for clues. Yeah. You know, I mean, I think that's important.
What do you think is more important, watching for the clues or learning the art of putting the right stimulus so you get the right clues?
Both. So like if I'm a real estate agent, as an example, I've never sold anything in my life besides myself. But so someone's in my house, someone's in a house and I'm showing. Okay. First of all, I'm going to show them a house that I know they want. Yeah. You know, first step, of course. So got this inventory, I'm working with another broker, whatever it is. I got this house. I'm going to show you this house. And you walk in and I see you looking at the backyard and you have that look like, huh. And I see you glancing back and forth and I notice your wife's pregnant. Do you want to put an image in someone's mind real quick and capitalize on a moment of him going, this is great. I can see the backyard from the living room and the kitchen. And I notice your wife's pregnant. I'll be like, I can tell that, you know, having a yard that's safe for you because from the kitchen, the living room, the dining room, every spot in this house, you can see the backyard. It's hard to find a house like that. And I can see you have a kid on the way. I can see that you love it. You know, like that image, you're already imaging it. And then I just like turned it on drugs. I cranked it up. So it's about observing and capitalizing on a free moment that he's like holding up that's like a guy playing poker and he looks at his cards and he brings them closer, holds them tighter and sits up higher. 3 things that tell me his cards are phenomenal. He might as well just hold up a sign. My cards are great. You know, you might as well hold up a sign. I love this yard. Yeah. And like, why would you not capitalize it? Why would a realtor then interrupt that flow and go, so over here we have Satia tile and over here we have blue paint and a fireplace and you just keep talking instead of capitalizing on a phenomenal moment that you could have engaged on. And that's, so me, I'm all about like, just be aware. Just listen to people, watch people.
Your formula there though was find the right house as your stimulus. Right? Your stimulus was show them what you think they might want. Then your observation was eyes looking backyard, all that. And then your presentation was family safety, uniqueness of all view of the backyard.
Kind of the stimulus for me was just watching him light up and noticing anything in the house where he goes, ooh. And I can see in his face, he goes, ah. And then I go, red, green light. He just liked something. His face just changed. The stimulus was not even me doing it, him admiring a yard. And this is just an example of how you just pay attention to what's happening around you and you can capitalize on it and kind of, you know, maneuver it a little bit.
Dude,
you know,
I love
as long as you're honest about it, it's great. Yeah. I'm just helping him realize what he saw. Yep. And then it just turns up the heat.
Yeah, you're observing and affirming.
Exactly.
That's it.
Yeah.
Wow. You got anything you want to expand upon that?
No, I'm just trying to
I see you thinking
everything he's saying because like sometimes when you see the stimulus, I think the second move is the harder one, which is like, okay, the stimulus happens, you asking the right question that can keep the stimulus going in the direction you want, or you can say something like, you say, hey, well, check out the flooring or whatever that can just shift the situation. Yeah. Do you run into that a lot? Do you think like salespeople run into that a lot? Because I feel like the first stimulus is pretty prescript. You know, everyone, welcome to the open house. Mm-hmm. Prescript, come check out the whole house. Yeah. And then, so that one where that welcomeness, people come to the open house and it's welcoming. So that's like a preset stimulus and then once they say the second word, that's kind of like, you just killed it for me. Do you see that a lot?
I don't know. I'm not quite following you on that. So again, for me, the stimulus isn't like, they're coming to open house. Mm. There's a very specific thing. I'm showing them a property, and I noticed they looked at something and they were like, and they have an uncomfortable look. I'd be like, oh, they don't like that the neighbor's got a dog. Like, I can take that information and go, okay, I got that locked in. They hate dogs. Like, it's about noticing a good or a bad or good reaction to something. Now, it could be something you've done, just like with my tricks, or I say something to you like, hey, I'm going to need you to work Saturday, and then based on how you react, I know like that's really going to make you mad. Yeah. So it's really about the give and take of that and paying attention. Yeah.
So 2 questions then. One, I'm a huge student of human nature. So my focus was theology, right? So for me, being able to understand how humans interact, psychology, philosophy, all that, right? Theory, that's effectively what theology is as well, right? Like those are all the components of things that I've loved as a subject matter. Knowing that, I've always known people try to read very intentionally. So I'm a very try not to show my cards kind of person. Mm-hmm. So what do you do with those people who don't react?
So here's the deal. Most people look at psychology from a conscious standpoint. I look at it from a subconscious standpoint. You want me to show you a trick?
Please.
Want me to teach you a trick? I'll teach you guys a trick. Okay. So here's just an example. Okay. I'll move this forward so you can still hear me. Okay. Here's what we'll do. Take a poker chip.
Oh shoot.
Okay? Take a poker chip.
Now you're gonna make
put it in one of your 2 hands. Okay. Close your hands. Okay. Now you're trying to be all secretive about it, right? To make this, come in closer to me. Okay. Do me a favor. Come in close. Can you maybe move the mic out of the way a little bit? So your hands are even? Okay. Perfect. Do you see how he's protecting his hand more?
Yeah.
It went less. He's also dropped it. It's in this hand. Let's see it. It is. Do it behind your back, though. Do it behind your back, and I'll teach you when you can do it with friends. This is great.
Oh, my God.
Go behind your back. Bring them out in front of you.
I was trying.
I won't look.
What do you want me to do?
Bring your hands out in front of you like this.
Okay.
Equally. Oh, this one's great. So you're making this like weird thing right here with this hand, which is kind of weird. I don't know if you're doing it on purpose. And you're resisting. Okay. I'm going to have you now watch very carefully. Watch very carefully. I want you to do something.
Okay.
I want you to do it immediately. Do not hesitate.
Okay.
Are you ready? Cross your hands. Cross your hands. Cross your hands and keep them crossed. Okay. It's on top.
Dang it.
It's right there.
That was great.
Now, what's interesting about the crossing, you were consciously choosing that.
I was.
You didn't do it. You didn't just react. You were like, okay, I'm going to be funny. I'm going to do this. Most people, they would slowly do it and they'd leave it there. And you're thinking ahead, how can I fool the magician? How can I fool the magician?
Yeah.
Right? So what happens is a couple things. You think about like when you're walking down an alleyway, right?
Yeah.
You don't even know it. Your hand just goes and touches your wallet.
Hmm.
You always bring your purse closer to you.
Yeah.
You typically protect what's valuable, right?
Yeah.
So you're going to move in a certain way.
Yeah.
Now, if you do it subconsciously and you're like, well, what am I doing? Okay. And you do this, believe it or not, it almost always be on the bottom. Always, because you're protecting it. You're protecting it. You don't want to bring attention to it. But because I know that you're super aware of this stuff, you're like a poker player, you don't like to show much, your tells are sometimes going to be counterintuitive. So you're in like a 1% tile, believe it or not.
Dang.
Most people in this situation would have it on the bottom. And I do demonstrations like this on stage with people's wedding rings. And you have them hold the wedding ring and they have them shake it out.
They don't care about
think
me.
think about the wedding ring. Think about the wedding ring, and when you proposed and you say it's in this hand, you will slowly see them thinking about the journey and the proposal, and their nose will turn toward it.
Yeah.
Because they're focused on it. And so that's just because they're wired to look at what they want. And so you're looking for shifts behavior, you're looking for this basic human tendency that people have. And it's a simple thing. It's easy to use in magic, it's easy to use in poker, it's easy to use in sales. Just once you know what people are really doing, like with thumbs go down, they're sad, they're not happy.
Yeah.
Thumbs go up, they're happy. Feet curl in, they go. People put their foot out. When they're playing poker up here. They're like you're a poker player type. You don't want to reveal a lot.
Yeah.
You want to trick the magician. You're not going to show your cards. You're not going to reveal much. And you could be frozen at a poker table.
Yeah.
Not blink, not breathe. But yet your fingertips might squeeze your cards tighter because you're protecting your good cards. You might stick your feet forward a little bit because subconsciously no one's going to beat you. You got the nuts, And so you can see those little shifts. And you're like, those cards are amazing.
That's
What would it
crazy.
show if he didn't have it in either hand? He dropped it behind his pack.
I almost thought of that too.
I absolutely prepared for that. 100% prepared for that. Especially in this situation.
I was like, I'm not going to be a dick.
No, I know. I figured. I honestly was prepared.
I would have dropped it behind my
100% prepared. 100% prepared. Because that is very likely for someone. with
For
your
sure.
behavior,
Yeah.
kind of your stance. Like you already admitted that you don't like to reveal much.
Yeah.
I can tell by how you're pulling and purposely turning your hands.
Yeah.
You're trying to make it more difficult versus just relaxed.
Yeah.
Now, normally, if it's at a corporate event, it's just a random person.
Yeah.
They're worried about the
Entertaining.
audience staring at them.
Yeah.
They do exactly what you would predict.
Yeah.
It's wild, you know?
So I got two things that I pulled from this experience that I'd love to finish with. And then if you don't mind, I'd love to see you do a trick on Min, because Min is a huge fan of this stuff. But
That'd be great.
Run around like, oh my God.
the two things that I want to touch on, one, it will go back into this tactical piece. What I picked up from what you just did was you are testing until you're like 99% sure of your solution, and then you act.
Correct.
Right. And I think that gets missed a lot, because so many of us, we have so much confidence in ourselves and we think that we have the plan, that by default, this is why people are so blind to observing. They're just so convinced that they already have the plan from the start. They just bulldoze everything in front. You're like,
Well, then that would mean they would sell 100% of the time. They'd get every single deal. They would be right every single time, and that doesn't happen, right? So therefore, they're wrong. You know,
Bro,
that's-
you're-
Yeah, you want to increase your odds tremendously.
Yeah.
Then start paying attention to people. Like, listen to what they're telling you, because they're going to tell you the opposite.
Yeah.
Because they're trying to save face, not hurt your feelings. They might have another broker involved, and they don't want to, you know, they're playing both sides of the fence, or they don't want to lie to you, or they, you know, they're trying to hide something, or what they're fearful. It could be they're uncomfortable. They don't have the money they thought they had, or they're embarrassed. And it could be a million factors. They're going to tell you what you want to hear, because that's what we're trained to do and trying to listen to. But you're not listening to the signs that are subconscious that don't lie. Because they don't lie.
yeah.
Period. If a girl's feet or a poker player's feet curl around their table leg, their cards aren't good. Period.
My biggest encouragement right now is don't just rely on your strength, rely on the test, right? Like, you're a scientist. You're literally testing over and over. Like, I was definitely playing. You shared with me how you saw the last time, so I tried manipulating. I left my knuckle up a little bit just to make you feel like someone was like. It was such a chess game. I could feel it, and you just kept testing and seeing your ability to know what to test, but most of all, your consistency to test. Like, I don't know if you're aware, or I'm sure you are, but there's so many people who don't. They just give up. They don't test all the way.
You don't have to be a world-class magician to do this stuff.
Yeah, you don't.
I'm doing these in the context of a trick.
Yeah.
But in the middle of a actual conversation, just a raw conversation, talking to a client about a sales proposal or whatever it might be, there's a bunch of opportunities, especially when the punchline's coming.
Yeah.
You know, they're all afraid for the price. You're like, oh, here we come. Here's the counter offer, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
It's like there's that moment. You can see and read that a lot better.
Well, it even comes into the principle, right, of like, my wife has told me so many times, she goes, how do you sit down with somebody and get to know so much personal information so quickly? And I've really tried asking myself how I do that, and I just listen. And, you know, some of my business partners have been like, how do you negotiate so well? I'm like, well, I just listen. I let the other guys show their cards first.
Right.
Like, the person asking the questions is the person in charge.
Yeah.
And so if you're listening and observing, it's the principle that I feel like you're pulling.
I'm going to give you an incredible
Please.
insight to something I discovered. You know, you all heard about, you know, in negotiations, the first to give a price is the one that loses. You've all heard that, right?
Yeah.
But from a psychological standpoint, the opposite holds true if you're the first to paint an image in their mind. So the first to basically hypnotize the other person. The first to say, I can see you love this backyard. I see you have a baby on the way. I can tell that from every room in this house, you can see this backyard. And that's such a benefit. It's hard to find a house that has this feature. Like, I'm painting an image.
Yeah.
The first one to do that wins.
So then that's going to take me to my second question, and it's in the same piece, so it's just dovetailing off, right? Like, the principle I'm getting from you is test, go, be flexible, be humble, be teachable, and then present, right? It seems to be the value prop there. Looking at your life, man, like, you gave yourself a chance when the odds were against you. You shared that one of the basic pieces there was acceptance. From what you shared earlier, there were some health pieces that happened, and you've reset a lot of even just what you're doing in business. How do you keep giving yourself a chance, right? Like,
Man.
you keep doing it over and over.
A lot of people would gave up 2 years ago. I'm not going to lie. I got hit. I got T-boned at 70 miles an hour on my left side. I've seen 130 doctors in over 2 years.
Wow.
Still doing physical therapy and therapy for my head, and surgeries. My left arm was, my bicep was torn off. I got mangled. Issues with my lungs, my kidneys. I got impaled, and really lucky to survive it. If I wasn't in such phenomenal shape 2.5 years ago, phenomenal shape, I don't think I would have made it, I'll be honest. And so it's been a hard couple years. People have asked, where's Rich? What happened to him? He's been gone. Well, COVID, it disappeared. It's COVID. Yeah. And then right after that, this accident. So I'm just now, 4 years later, people are like, what happened to Rich? I got millions of followers on YouTube who their messages like, where's Rich? It's like, well, I've been, in a dark hole, but through this, getting better and getting stronger and getting back to work, even talking with you guys, this is a big part of the journey of like, okay, I need to get back, because you only got 2 choices in life. Yes, I'm hurt and have a crappy life, or yes, I'm hurt and still kick butt. And I want this route, that's the route I want, that's how I've always had that attitude. I mean, look at my childhood, you have to overcome a lot. You just, no matter what happens, you're going to keep overcoming stuff. Yeah. I mean, I took a big roadblock this time, but I just got to get back to it.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Before we finish off with our last little piece here, do you mind tricking men?
Sure. You want to be tricked?
Now I'm paranoid.
Come on, buddy. Let's do it. Happen to have a Ferguson deck of cards with me. Okay, we'll try this. Why don't you both help me in a trick?
Oh shoot.
Yeah. Come on. You can record it. I don't care. But here, check this out. Here. Here's what we're going to try to do. I'll shuffle them up a little bit. Watch. Just tell me when to stop.
Stop.
Okay, perfect. Watch. I'll go through the cards like this very slowly. Just tell me when to stop again.
Stop.
This one or this one? Which one you want? This one right here. Remember the card. You got it? Not a joker, right? Yeah. It's not a joker? Okay, got it. Backstage? You got it? Okay.
Got it.
Okay, perfect.
Backstage.
I want to try something. I'm just going to rub it right here on this. Some red tape. Try to pick up that red pigment. You see it change right there? Can you see it? Can you see it? Watch. You can see it, right? Watch. I don't know what your card is, but I just picked up some of this. And I'm going to try this. Watch. I don't know what your card is, but I'm just going to take a quick peek at it. Is your card the 5 of spades? So check this out. Wait. Check this out. Do me a favor. Watch. Do me a favor. Put your finger on top of it softly. Don't bend it. Just like that. Just hold it. Now you're going to pick a card as well. Watch. Tell me once again. Just tell me when to stop.
It's that cricket finger.
Just say stop. Okay, remember your card. You got it. You got it backstage.
Oh, yep. Got it.
Yeah. Now watch. I'm going to turn this one red as well.
Shut up.
Now watch. Just watch. Pick it up. Now go pull it out. It'll be red. This is going to freak you out. Yeah, it's going to be red. Check this out. This is good.
Shoot. It moved.
No. Oh, no. Oh, shoot. You bumped it? Okay, that's okay. It's right here. It'll be the red card. Can't miss it. Just watch. It'll be right here. It'll be the red card. Okay, I might. What was your card?
5 of diamonds.
Wait.
8 of diamonds.
8 of diamonds.
8. Oh, wait.
Shut up.
I said I was going to turn it red, right?
Yeah.
There's a red card.
Shut up. No.
Wait.
That better not be the 8 of diamonds. Are you kidding me? I had my finger. I was pressing hard on that shit. Are you? Oh my God!
My bad.
What the hell, bro? What the hell? It's about to jump out of my chest right now.
Holy shit. I swear. There's 5
There's
cameras
no
here.
way.
There's 5 cameras.
I know what to tell you. It's the weirdest
Look,
damn
guys, I hope that you listened to this and you got one thing out of it. That no matter what's happened in life, right? For you to find the strength to accept, you to find the strength to observe your own skills, you to find the strength to be able to know, like testimonies like this, that when you do accept, you see your skills and you lean into it, you give yourself a chance. The success you can have will reach TV screens, borders, podcast studios that you would have never imagined. So bet on yourself, let Rich's story encourage you, and give yourself a chance. See you at the next show.
Bro,
cool.
I had my
And also,
finger
if you
on
rub it on blue, it changes back to blue.
What the hell?
It's supposed to be blue,
Yeah.
so you just change it back.
Bro,
And it was.
you had one job.
All right, this
Make
is-
sure he
this is-
doesn't trick
Wait,
you.
hold on, let me
I know.
see here.
Oh,
This
Hey.
is 2 jobs. This is how be like stuck together. So.
He's not.
what are you doing? It's paper. It's so funny.
Dude.
There it is. Yep.
That's insane.
Wow.
Yeah.
Dude.